What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. I have a chock full market watch, so forgive me if I open a tab and take a little bit to think about it. I've even refreshed my tabs and not seen all of the prices update, so react Andy if you will. And starting out with Magician Soul, surprisingly and increasingly, this is one of the most asked questions being slid across my desk. Should I buy this card? Should I sell this card? And I think that comes from people getting their stimulus checks in lately and really looking at things they've been waiting and itching to buy for a long time. My answer stays the same. You should be selling this immediately, in my opinion. If I was a vendor, I would be throwing it away like a hot potato, and I would not be in the market to buy it until it has a reprint, and here's multiple reasons to cite it. First off, it's pretty much above market price except for two motivated sellers and all the foreign copies. The lowest first edition is around 93, and then the lowest high feedback seller has one around 93 for Unlim 2. You do see an $84 and $81 singular copies pop up from low rated sellers, but in my opinion, those are the only ones that are actually under market price besides a ton of foreign or damaged ones. So people often look for those English copies, and I just wouldn't even be buying those foreign copies for their current prices. And I think it being bolded in King's Court is a huge sign. This is not conspiracy, crazy, big brain theory. Magician Soul's being bolded here. You have Yugi's cards on the covers, and while people are saying it could be collector rare in the set, and if they don't change the formula, another rarity in the set also, which would make it way easier to pull, I think it's more likely this is a hint towards Legendary Duelist Season 3, but I absolutely could see them double dipping into the set and printing Magician Souls twice for its popularity, because they have a Dusted Gold, they have Bane, they have Liquid Soldier, they have so many cards to sell Legendary Duelist Season 3, but I do think we will see it secret rare within Legendary Duelist Season 3 as well. But this card being bolded here, Konami loves to drop those hints. I would not be in the market to buy it. Now, speaking of people spending their stimmy checks, Amanda Lopam now has the Alistair the Invoker mini bundle up on her site, and it looks really freaking good for everything she's done. The playmat with Makaba, you have a field center, and then sleeves. The sleeves almost look like a Hearthstone style backing of his book behind him, and then that little chibi pin, I would be throwing that on in too. You can go 2 packs of sleeves if you want. I personally suggest doing the spot holographic playmat, and you can use code WhatsGood5 to support the channel, get yourself 5% off, and get this amazing deal. Summon Alistair for the 5,000th time in style next time. Okay, Mystic Fighters has been going up in price a lot. I've noticed movement here or there. Now, Mathmech buyouts aren't really new, but Laplation is running out of quantities. Remember, this card is short printed. It's not easy to get in the set. Edition has been going crazy. A lot of people speculating that's because of Firewall. I've also seen the Mathmech deck kind of do okay in the rogue status on its own, but I definitely think Firewall is the driving force. There are a couple motivated sellers before this quickly goes up in price, so you might want to get yours sooner than later using that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra. Support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying if you're in the market for this. But also another reminder, Konami seems to like to use the Megatons to go after side sets, and I think that Mystic Fighters as well as Secret Slayers would be really up there in terms of the sets that Konami might go after. You know, the Golden Lords, Adamancipator, then Dragon Maids and Generators. These really had decent prices all throughout, and I could see them definitely going for the Megatons with some of these again. Madolches and the Sweets are really going kind of crazy all over the place. Madolche Salon is now towards an $8 card. Eternity Code's reprint clock is ticking, so keep that in mind. But Madolche and Jelly has gone up pretty much 33% in price. I know the market watched me. If it's moved up $1, gotta report it. But I've been telling you guys I'd probably get this copy sooner than later. I could easily see this being a $5 version of the card down the road, especially since the ultra rare original is still around $5. I do get that people like nostalgia and like to go back and get the versions that they played, but a nice upgrade to this card was awesome. And the ultimate rare for Tiramisu first edition keeps actually selling around $200. So if you have one, you've been sitting on one for a while, I'd be pretty tempted to go ahead and sell that around those prices. Now, not everything's up. I wanted to shout out a quick penny stonk. If you know here on the channels, penny stonks are usually $5 and lower cards. I've seen Risen Dragite kind of sneaking in the deck list here or there, most likely the plunder list on the channel that got second. But this is a synchro that I think you really want access to be able to go against spell and trap cards or effects, not just activation, whenever you have a water monster in the graveyard. A lot of people stop at that first effect, oh, it's just the rocks, but this card's really good. But again, Secret Slayers could be up for reprints. This card could see Megaton, like, splashes of this card, so think about going too heavy in this investment versus having a personal copy and a couple for trade. After I shouted out the plant stuff and said glow up bulbs not moving on last market watch, market man's fault, my bad. Any content creator who doesn't think they have a direct impact when they're getting 10,000 plus views on the market, re-look yourself, even if you're not a market content creator. Glow up bulb ulti sold out pretty much immediately after I pointed out, hey, ulti dandy's up, ulti the breeze is up, glow up's not, and that's a ban list collection. That happened, but I still think it was a relatively good suggestion, as plant format is probably the second most popular behind goat format, and a lot of people are looking for more places to play it / to collect multiple reasons for this card. Artemis, the Magistus Moon Maiden, is $12. I didn't notice this creep up from $8, but it makes a lot of sense because Invoked, which is kind of a theme of this market watch, has been doing a lot better, and you no longer need to play Almiraj or take up way too much extra deck space. You can just go straight into her from Alistair and get your light on field. We have Rage of Ra getting a little creepy in terms of prices. Ancient Chant running out of quantities, going up in price. Egyptian God Slime had a buyout a bit ago, but I was looking over at Troll and Toad's hot buys, and I noticed, well, they were buying up slime for a bit at $21. And why is that notable? I liked to use Troll and Toad for a very long time while I vended, and I always like to have Troll and Toad credit in stock, and I know I'm sponsored by them. This is genuinely how I operated. Using code 5, you can get an extra 5% on top of the 35%. So 21 times 0.4 is actually 8.4 bonus on it, plus 21. That's about its price. So Troll and Toad's willing for trade-in to basically get it around market price because they're selling it so hot. And you can look at this trick with other cards as well that might be reprinted somewhat soon. Like, you come down to Ice Dragon's Prison, and they're doing 35. Well, they can't bolster a huge amount because of their trade-in credit ability, but I like to have it for when they do Black Friday sales, when they do product. At $35, if you do the 0.4, and you add back the 35, that is $49 for Ice Dragon's Prison, and it's around 51 here. Now they're taking a 13% fee, they're probably doing tracked shipping, all that stuff, and versus Troll and Toad taking multiple copies, I like to have that credit and get rid of things that might get reprinted sooner or later. Like, could they go all the way to Rise and Ghosts from the Past? Personally, don't think so, but Battles of Legend, as soon as Ghosts from the Past drops, could have some reveals / spoilers happening. So I do like to offload things before reprint announcements, and looking over at Troll and Toad and supporting the channel might be one of the best ways to do so. I also love to come through here and kind of see what's hot for them. It tells me cards to look up for Market Watch. Mystical Space Typhoon, humongous brain buyout, going even further beyond what I thought it could, around $200. For Spell and Trap Destruction and past format play, I did suggest this on a stream whenever I saw Cosmic Cyclone up and was saying, I think that this is probably one of the better holds / buys. While you do compete with the first edition MRL version, this version is extremely nice and will be in so many different past formats. I think this is definitely a decent hold. Now, is it worth 200 at this point? I don't think so. People who got in and ate well around the $70 mark, I don't think you'll see it hit back to 70. I think it might go down towards 120 again before you have a realistically good price chance to get in on. Tour Guide has been skyrocketing like crazy. There's very few stopping it from being $400, and I know that we saw most recently Burning Abyss success with Gabe not playing Power Sync Stone, were ya, son? But Gabe, a huge huge household name, taking first at the remote duels this weekend. Really cool to see, and a lot of attention towards tour guide, not just on Farfa's wall in a giant card form. Speaking of a lot of ultimate rares, that's what a lot of these are going to be. Fire Formation Tenki has gone kind of crazy again. 164, 175. We saw this dip down towards 130, 125 most recently, and this is just one that comes and goes in waves. I do wonder what Tenki's bottom out price will be after so many buyouts. Say if Zoo disappears from the format, you still have Tri-Brigade, Lyrilusk, stuff like that. I really don't know where Tenki ends up stopping at this point, because they keep releasing cards that are good with it. Originally, this got bought out because of Ancient Warriors. Sorry for anybody else who wanted to play same decks in the meta. Not making fun of Ancient Warriors, they're freaking cool. Now, we have Dark Arm Dragon still being around that $400 mark. Here's a German at $327. I was peeking in on it, $410, $460. I didn't know he had a rival, but I should have just assumed. Ultimate Rare Judgment Dragon has a market price of $300, and the only listed at all is $450. Wow, so the lowest listed JD is actually above Dark Arms, and this isn't some super recent buyout. These have been targeted for some time. Light and Dark Mix Chaos, another card crazy up in price from Turbo Pack, and I actually unironically might suggest, and I don't like to suggest, a PSA version at $1,500, but the next lowest Unlimited English is 1,000, and it's only a population 8 for the slab. Chaos Sorcerer, Turbo Pack 2, it's the lesser between BLS, Chaos Emperor Dragon. But remember, Turbo Pack 2 had tons of foiling issues, as did 1, and with that, it's so hard to find these mint. This is only a population 8 for how old and revered Chaos Sorcerer is. It's kind of crazy to think that in a collection, you would probably have a lot of people who end up wanting a PSA version of that, but you come back to the realization and down to earth, what versions of PSA cards are really good stonks? What do you want to hold on? It's behind those other two in line, and I think, like, I bought a BGS 9.5 Yada a couple of months ago. It's more than a couple of months at this point, but around $650 or $800, and when I'm staring at this, like, talking about spending $1,400-$1,500 and being quote-unquote sane on it, I don't know, maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit on slabs, but I really do respect this card in the history it has, and GOAT format has been really pushing this up in price lately. Caius the Shadow Monarch, low of $300 for English, hello, it continues to go. Burr, Zodiac Whiptail, speaking of Zodiacs and Tenki, Whiptail is up in price towards $75. It's actually getting bought out from the $50 range here again. Invocation, of course, up in price, not trying to remind you of this playmat too much and to use code What'sGood5 for beautiful art from Amanda. But Invocation being towards $150 overall for near mint, $170 quickly after. Makes a lot of sense with the success this is seeing. I feel like, though, really, you should just wait for it to dip and then have it for a long time, because this was 90 before the new invoked craze of a new format. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Speaking of how ultimate rares don't stick up in price after a buyout, necessarily, depending on how meta relevant and what's going on. Remember people trying to bump up Trickstar Like Horse? It's already back down almost into the 30s at $43 with tons of sellers hoping you take theirs. Continue to let that price fall. Thunder Dragon Colossus still banned. That's not stopping people from going in even further. Instead of letting it dip back down before the next ban list, people are continuing. $69. Nice, it's around $70 instead of $60. Really seems sane, huh? And Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. New format, people try out new hand traps. I don't know if it's more because it's a fan favorite. Remember, this did replace OTS Pack 9 whenever OTS Pack 9 got shorted, so more of these got into circulation, dipping the price back then, so there's quite a few Ghost Ogres, 135s, 140s versus market price 120, and we can see quite a few actually selling around that $100 mark in the past few months, so it is up in price. People are grabbing them. What do you guys think of Ghost Ogre in this current format versus other hand traps? I don't necessarily think it's up there unless I missed something from this last weekend, but I do like having access to it for whenever those next buyouts are going to happen, and then people buy it out through 180, and you can list yours for 180 and make a nice little payday. That's more so what I respect about this card overall on the market, but I do also really like how Ultimate Rare Ghost Girls look, and when are you going to give us Ash Blossom, Konami? Thank you for watching today's Market Watch and Side Rambles. Please use that TCG player link if shopping during this crazy time. It supports the channel, helps me not rely on ad rev as much for the cards you'd already be buying, and I really do appreciate it. And again, go check out this playmat on Amanda's shop. Looks really amazing. I don't think it can be understated what a great artist she is, and if your wallet's already crying from this, wait for the Sky Striker bundle and the alternate art IP Masquerena playmat. Those look amazing.